Hey everyone, as you may or may not know, starting this weekend is Battle Roads, which is the first event of the 2011-2012 season. Now because everyone wants to get a good start to the season, I'm going to review some of the decks I think will be good contenders for the Battle Roads event. Before we get into the deck list though, I want to talk about the differences that are between Worlds, the event that happened last, and Battle Roads now. The only real difference in the format is that the set Emerging Powers came out, which brought us cards like Pokemon Catcher, Veritech, Gothitelle, Thundurus, Tornadus, other stuff too, but those are the main ones. I don't think this set will have such a high impact as everyone thought, but Catcher is definitely one of the major cards that's going to change this format. Not much as the decks, but just as much of how decks play out.
The first deck I would like to talk about is Reshifusion. Reshifusion is a deck that has been known about for a while now because of its good performances at Nationals and Worlds, where it came first in the Seniors Division in Worlds and second in the Juniors Division. If you don't know the strategy of the deck, the main thing is using Typhlosion Prime's Afterburner Poke Power to power up Reshiram so that it can keep on attacking for 120 every turn. This skeleton list does not include Ninetales right now, but it is a card that many lists have incorporated and have done well with. You can either add 2/2 Ninetales to the list, or add more draw supporter cards like Sage's Training or Charon. The list right now has 10 extra cards, so adding Ninetales would be 4 cards, or you could probably add around 3-4 more draw supporter cards to the deck. You could also try to add techs like Pikachu from the Black and White set to deal with water Pokemon if you fear that is going to be a problem in your format. As for trainer supporters, you might want to add one more communication if you up the Pokemon line, and you may probably want to add a switch because Catcher will be a very big card, and catching up your non-energy Reshiram or your Typhlosion could be bad. Overall, Reshifusion is a fairly simple yet fairly powerful deck, which may be a good option if you cannot think of anything else. The next deck I'm going to talk about is Stage 1 deck, which consists of multiple Stage 1 lines. This particular list consists of Donphan, Zoroark, and Yanmega, which is one of the more popular variants. Stage 1 was a deck that was supposed to do good because of its performance at US National, then underperformed at Worlds, but is expecting a comeback due to cards like Pokemon Catcher. The list only has 2/2 of Donphan and Zoroark, but you'd probably want to add at least 1/1 of one of those lines, depending on what you think is going to be more popular. You may also add other Stage 1 Pokemons like Cinccino if wanted. As for the supporter line, you would probably want to add more draw support like Copycat or Judge so that Yanmega can copy hands more often. This deck seems good for some people, but personally I've never liked the deck. It seems a bit clunky, and it doesn't seem like you'll be able to always draw the right cards in the right situations. The next deck we're going to be looking at now is the Zekrom Thundurus deck, which is an old take on the Zekrom Rush deck or ZPS deck. The only difference to this deck really is that new Tornadus that has come out from Emerging Powers, which seems to be a fairly strong card that works well with Zekrom in many ways. First off, it's colorless, which has resistance to fighting, which counters Zekrom's weakness of fighting and helps it combat cards like Donphan Prime. It also has the ability to attack and then move its energy onto Zekrom, allowing Zekrom to set up while still being able to attack for 80 damage a turn. This, combined with the old explosive power of Zekrom Apache Shaman, allows this deck to set up very fast and be very consistent with a very good supporter base, which I like a lot. This list only has 6 extra slots after everything is put in here, but it still seems like it has a lot compared to other decks. I think this is a strong choice for Battle Roads, especially with an undefined format like this. The fourth deck we're going to be talking about is Yanmega Magnezone. This deck has been known to do well because of its first place at US Nationals and its showing at Worlds, which was fairly decent. Magnezone has become unfavorable because of its thought of being bad to Catcher, but this deck plays 2 switches which hopefully will be able to combat Catcher somewhat, and with Junk Arm you should be able to reuse it if needed. But mainly this list is just a straight up Yanmega Magnezone list, with 5 extra slots for techs like Absol Prime, Vileplume, or anything else you want to add to this deck. The last deck I'm going to be talking about is one of my favorite decks right now, and I might use it for the first Battle Roads, which is Damage Dance, or Vileplume, Reuniclus, Donphan, all that stuff. The main idea of this deck is set up a Vileplume and Reuniclus, and then use any sort of attacker between Donphan, Entei Suicune, or Zekrom or Reshiram to be able to attack and just have it tank so it won't be able to die, but be able to do a decent amount of damage. This deck did well, showing second at Worlds by Ross Kaufman with a very interesting list, and this list is just almost the same thing as his list, with just extra slots for cards you can add. The deck doesn't change at all from the Worlds really, and it's just a fairly decent deck. The only card that may be missing is Tropical Wind. This deck hasn't really changed that much since Worlds, but the only card people may not be able to get is Tropical Beach, which is a World promo card.
So these are some of the decks that I think will be more popular at Battle Roads, and if you're not playing one of them, you should be able to beat most of them. So Battle Roads will start this weekend, and I hope you guys all do good at it. It is the first event of the year, and it doesn't mean that much, so don't take it too seriously. And remember, have fun. Oh, and I also would like to add that we have gone over 100 subscribers, which is awesome. It's not that much. I mean, of course, there's greater accomplishments in life than that, but you know, it's something. It's a start for us, and keep subscribing. Get your friends to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're watching this, just push the little yellow button. There's a button somewhere, and you're supposed to push it, and it would be awesome if you did push it. So, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, blah 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 blah. See you guys later.